You might recall this story when the Michael Brown killing in Ferguson by Officer Darren Wilson brought to light this case of Henry Davis, who in 2009 was beaten up by Ferguson cops when he was handcuffed on the floor of a jail cell. And the only reason he was brought in was because during a traffic stop, the police mistook this Henry Davis for a different Henry Davis who had an outstanding warrant and brought him in for that. So that's the only reason he was even in that jail cell to begin with. And then after being in that jail cell, only because of this mistaken identity and being beaten while handcuffed on the floor, the police charged him with destroying their police property because he bled on their shirts from them beating him. I mean, it sounds almost like a over the top black comedy skit. Like, it seems ridiculous. Well, this comes out that a federal district court ruled that Davis could not sue the cops for violating his Fourth Amendment rights because they had not injured him badly enough as he lay handcuffed on the jailhouse floor. I mean, like I just said, it sounds like it would be in some sort of black, dark comedy here. I mean, is the federal district court trying to outdo the Ferguson police in the absurdity?
You have to at least paralyze a guy before you even talk about that kind of thing.
Now, this is
He's
from the
handcuffed. He only has a few lacerations. It's ridiculous.
Now, you know what? You're saying that in that silly, the joking, stereotypical police officer voice. But this is from the Daily Beast, and this is actually what the court ruling said when tossing out the case. Are you ready for this? As unreasonable as it may sound, this is the I'm not racist, but of federal district court rulings. As unreasonable as it may sound, a reasonable officer could have believed that being a subdued and compliant that beating a subdued and compliant Mr. Davis while causing only a concussion, scalp lacerations, and bruising, might I reiterate, only, with almost no permanent damage, did not violate the Constitution. Now, see, I can't tell if this federal district court is extremely stupid or if they are actually extremely tuned in to how dumb these Ferguson cops are to say, you know what, an officer like that might have thought this was reasonable.
Hey, I'm not reading the Constitution. I'm being a handcuffed black kid. You can't expect me to multitask like that. Your Honor, at long last, there has to be some fairness in the criminal justice system.
I mean,
Could you imagine that? Some guy brutally runs him with the Constitution. Hey, Frank, stop beating the guy with the handcuffs. It violates his rights. Oh, really? I'm sorry about that, bro.
I had no idea.
Would you like... I had no idea. I heard that Earth, Wind, and Fire is doing a reunion tour. You want to take it for it or something? Oh, my bad. I guess that's a little out of date. I don't know what kind of music you people like. Am I right? You want a ginger ale?
I mean,
I'm sorry about that.
I'd like to add why he was beaten up too. If you don't need it even, there is no reason to beat up someone to beat someone up. Period. And then on top of that, the fact that he's handcuffed on the floor of the cell to begin with. But even more ridiculous, the reason they got angry at him to really pile on the absurdity here was because there were no more beds in the jail cells because the Ferguson prison was so full. So he asked for a cot to put on the floor to lay down on.
Oh, Mr. High and Mighty wants a freaking cot.
That's why they beat him up.
Hey, dude, I understand. It pisses me off that this little fuck would have the temerity to ask for a cot, too. But I just read the Constitution, and we can't beat him while he's in handcuffs, all right? It's against the law. Oh, look at the brains on Tony all the time, reminding people of the Constitution. What a friggin' genius.
Now,
Could you waited 5 minutes? I could at least get a couple of, as you would call them, lacerations in.
Only lacerations, remember. only. And we didn't injure him badly enough. There's almost no permanent damage, almost. But, you know, there's
Look at 50 Cent. He speaks with a slur. Didn't do him any bad in his career.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I mean, there's a bright side here. Davis appealed, and the appeals court ruled in his favor.
Great.
And this opens up the fact that with this reverse of decision, Davis could now go ahead with his excessive force suit. And because after this ridiculousness, we need even more of a light at the end of the tunnel. One of the cops who beat up Davis and left him with almost no permanent damage actually retired and went on to become a city council member in the first ward. And when this case came to light, the cop ended up not seeking a second term, which led to Ella Jones, a black woman, to win the seat, which made the city council a 3-on-3 race-wise.
So maybe there is some justice in the world. He
Yes.
wins the appeal. The guy loses his seat. They should both be in jail. But I guess there's some good in that story.